Assalamu alaikum. My name is Salim Kassam. You might know me from such shows as A Question of Deen. Anyway, having recently graduated, it feels a bit weird to be back in the university environment, but I'm not back for anything. I'm back for the MSc Conference 2012. Organisations have come together today for this conference. Over the course of the day, there will be workshops, a panel discussion, networking, and many other activities. I'm here on a journey to discuss Islamic space at universities. Do Muslims have space at universities? Do we need a space at university? And where do Muslims fit into a university environment? To be frank, I don't think I'm going to leave here until I find that answer. I'm going to be speaking to people from across the country, and I hope you can join me on this journey. You go to university in London. Do you attend any Muslim events at university?
I used to. I've been at university for some time now, but I was heavily involved in attending both the Muslim ABSOC events and the ABSOC Ahlulbayt Society events. But now that I've got myself established quite a lot and made quite a few friends in the Ahlulbayt Society events, I tend to attend those more. Whereas the ABSOC ones, I tend to attend the kind of the bigger events, but not the frequent ones.
And generally speaking, do you feel that Muslim students are catered for through these societies? You said you've attended, more and more events as you've kind of gone on and made friends.
Yeah.
Do you feel that they cater for students, or Muslim students at university?
Yes, in my particular one, they do. I went to UCL, and UCL ABSOC has obviously been in the press for worse or for better. But they certainly do. There is a Islamic societies are definitely under the scope, and they are.
But do you not feel that possibly, through these societies, Muslim students are segregating themselves further from the general student body?
No, not at all. Actually, by having a society, it allows a kind of an interface for further integration, actually. So having a face, having a committee allows further integration with other societies, such as the Catholic Society, the ABSOC, and the Interfaith Society as well. So actually having a society is very important and integral in interfaith kind of movements.
What do you feel the focus of events at these Muslim societies should be? Should they be for Muslim students? Should they have like du'as on a Thursday night? Or should it be more outward looking, so catering to non-Muslims, preaching almost about Islam?
I think at UCL, the Ahlulbayt Society is excellent in actually doing both very well. First of all, you've got the circles which are catered for more philosophical discussions, and they use a lot of Arabic terminology during that. So obviously that's for the Shiite Nashari, who are quite active in their own communities. However, we do very good events such as Sex in Islam, which was catered for a more popular westernized audience, and these tend to be very heavily attended. So we draw a lot of crowds, and they go down very well. So having a balance of both is important, because you don't want it to be such an insular kind of society. You want it to be you want other people from other kind of walks of life to come and attend.
That's great. And I think one question on all the viewers' minds is, what product do you use in your hair?
I don't actually. I kind of condition it. What else do I use? I use matte clay. That's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There you have
VO5.
it. You had it first here. Yeah. VO5. 2 for 1. Soft and silky. Personally, I feel that ABSOCs are created to give Muslims a sense of identity and purpose at university. I'm joined here by Tamara. Tamara, do you agree with my sentiment?
Absolutely, I completely agree. I've been involved in Ahlulbayt societies and the MSc now for almost 6 years, and it's been the shaping experience of my life. And I've now graduated, I'm in the working world, and I'm outgoing vice chair of MSc. So even though I've graduated, I've remained in this circle because I just feel it's fundamental to who I've become today. Unlike any other mosque or organisation, Ahlulbayt societies and MSc are completely independent. And that's what makes it so unique and phenomenal. It doesn't matter what ethnic origin you're from, how old you are, your religious background, even the religious sect. It really doesn't matter. MSc and Ahlulbayt societies welcome everyone, they encompass everyone, and they help you look forward to the future, which I feel in a society today, we don't really have that kind of vision. And this is why we've got these societies, to help us set that vision for the future.
And do you feel also, we have professionals here and the networking lounge. Do you feel that, the universities and the societies in MSc are an opportunity to meet people from everywhere and actually get to interact and, discuss ideas and whatever else? Because we have societies across the country at universities, but very rarely do they come together in such a unique manner.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is one big problem in our society. We have very little networking opportunities. So unless you go to the same mosque, so you know each other from that opportunity, or you work together, then you rarely get the opportunity to network. And this conference, for example, is an opportunity to do that, to network with other people, to meet other people, to exchange details. And this is actually going on to a project that the MSc is setting up, where we're going to be setting up focus groups so that people with special interests can network within themselves rather than us just relying on people that we met at university. No, MSc and ABSOC are providing that platform to widen that networking opportunity.
Now there's a panel discussion with various speakers, and I think it's quite a varied range of topics, so we're just going to go quickly have a look.
Is to have the right vision. The right vision is use Islam as a platform, as a foundation, and reach out to mainstream society. Maybe we won't get there next year, but hopefully through different channels for students and professionals, this is the direction you're looking into. This is poor poverty, this is renewable energy, this is financial model, this is family values, which are lacking in Britain.
I think Afan is just exceptional in what he's achieved over his life and what he's doing.
Depth of experience that the speakers have, they've all come from such varied backgrounds. We have, for example, Iqbal Asaria and Brother Hassan Sadr, who also just spoke, as we saw, and we can learn so much from these kind of people. So far, I've spoken to various people and I've heard, very nice things about Ahlulbayt society, but I don't know if I'm convinced. I want to really speak to people and find out what it is they really think, and now effectively we'll just attack a few people and see what they say and put them, under pressure. Just take them out of their comfort zone effectively, and we'll see how they bear. And if, at the end of it, we're thinking that Ahlulbayt society and Muslim societies offer something positive for Muslims in university and not just a sort of safe haven away from Western decadence or whatever people want to call it. So I think we'll find some people to talk to and see what they say. Who are you and which society do you represent?
My name is Omar Farouk Khan and I'm the president of Bradford Ahlulbayt Society.
Okay, and how many members do you have?
Roughly about 50 members.
50 members. Okay, so that's quite a sizable number of people that you represent. So with your events, I'm guessing your members are all Muslim?
Yeah, all of our members are Muslim.
Yeah.
Majority of them are Shia.
Okay, so now do you not feel like you're taking these people and sort of segregating them, keeping them away from sort of mainstream university society, mainstream university life?
Not at all, because we have events in collaboration with other societies in the university and we get together with them, discuss with them. Whether they want to work with us or not, that's their own issue, but we're always open to that.
So you are generally quite an open society?
Absolutely, we know the presidents of the other societies,
yeah.
Regularly talk to them. We try our bit.
And you say that they don't respond and they don't come back and want to collaborate with you.
What can you do?
That's fine. But then the events you do have, do they cater for Muslims or non-Muslims? What kind of events are they?
We had an event 2 weeks ago, university life, compatible or contradictory to an Islamic lifestyle. So that was for anyone to come, generally for Muslims, but all schools of thought, but there was, all sorts of people there.
And I think the concern is that, when we've come, the Muslim sort of religion has come from the Middle East and from outside, and it's almost migrated into the UK only in recent times. And I think there's an issue about, they always talk about assimilation and Muslims not actually getting into society. Do you not feel that with events talking about the contradictory sort of university lifestyle and Muslim lifestyle, should there not be a Muslim university lifestyle? Is there not that in existence? Why are we always talking about us and them?
Well, in essence, that's a very good point, but in essence, what the talk was trying to illustrate was that you can very much lead a university lifestyle, and the variance that a university lifestyle entails in itself, and how Islamic lifestyle is quite easily compatible with university lifestyle. I mean, you make your university lifestyle, in essence. And obviously for a Muslim, that's going to be within the boundaries of Islam. The us and you mentality, of course, it's not a very good thing to have, but that wasn't our intentions.
Okay, we've touched upon Muslims at university and Muslim societies. Now, if we can get slightly further deeper into it, Ahlulbayt society is, you could say, a Shia society. Islamic society is a Sunni society. Is there a need for two societies? Is it not divisive in the way that it's at least set up? Because you know that Ahlulbayt society is Shia. So how would you sort of justify having an Ahlulbayt society in a world when Muslims are under attack?
Well, let's first and foremost, let's just say one thing. The Ahlulbayt society, although predominantly is the Shia society, the Ahlulbayt aren't restricted to the Shia ourselves. They're for everybody. So anybody who wants to take from them is welcome to join our society, come to our events, help out. We don't have that restriction on people. Whereas with the ABSOC, unfortunately, when they find out people are Shia, they're very hostile towards them, they kick them off the committee. There's been awful cases. In an ideal world, it would be nice to have just one society. However, in our school of thought, essentially, when people are restricting us from teaching the teachings of Ahlulbayt themselves, we're going to have to do something else to spread their teachings. When people don't want to have these sort of events, have these sort of programs, you have to look for an alternative.
I can very much appreciate that, but now let's look at it from a non-Muslim perspective. I'm curious, let's say, about Islam. I see Ahlulbayt society and ABSOC. Am I not going to think, well, they can't even get one society to represent Muslims? How am I going to try and approach them? Does it not almost deter non-Muslims from coming in to embracing Islam?
Well, even in the Christians, you have the Catholic Society, you have the Mormon societies, the Jehovah's Witness Society. So it's not just something within Islam itself. And then if you look at the sports society, sometimes there's various offshoots of them. Personally, I feel it's interesting for a non-Muslim because they can get all the different flavors. They can try the ABSOC, what they have to offer, and we'll tell them, go, you're welcome to do that. And they can see what we have to offer. And of course, ours is always going to be the greater, experience, inshallah, which they'll find out because Ahlulbayt, you can't get any purer than that.
After speaking to Omar, I realised that there are positives in having an ABSOC presence within a university environment. However, I felt like investigating a bit more, perhaps by speaking to an ex-ABSOC president. I'm joined by Sister Shireen, who's the ex-president of King's College London Ahlulbayt Society. So just a few questions about your experience as a president. How do you feel that Ahlulbayt Society has catered for not only the Muslims but also the non-Muslim students at your university?
I feel that Ahlulbayt Society is still a little bit obscure, maybe because of the name, also because that it's very hard to reach out to non-Muslims in a university society. It's even hard to reach out to our own Muslims in a university society. And I feel that there's still not so much of a barrier because there is a social interaction that goes on. All Muslims and non-Muslims are friends between each other. But in terms of education, the actual active interaction, I still think isn't there. And it's one of the hardest things to achieve. And I think that we're not getting it right yet.
And given the numbers at events across London and across the UK are relatively low on a weekly basis, is there any excuse given social media and how we can advertise our events so widely and so well within a matter of seconds?
I think that the unfortunate fate of university students is that we're all really busy and we have to prioritise what we're in university for primarily. And from my experience of being a president, that the committee, even though on paper it's large, there's 3 or 4 active members, and that many people can't run a society by themselves. Despite our hardest efforts on Facebook and everything, sometimes I think on Facebook there's almost too many events. That there's just a list of events on the left-hand side of the screen that you can't even look at them because there's so many that they just get forgotten about.
And given the conference that we're at today with MSc and ABSOC and the sort of infrastructure that's been put in place over the past few years, where do you see the future of MSc and Ahlulbayt Society, and in the next 5 years, where are we going to be?
I think coming today, MSc and how the ABSOC and MSc have collaborated together, I think it's really encouraging that we have people, for professionals, coming and giving lectures to students, showing us how to be active, not just Islamic education, but showing us how to actually portray it and how to get it out there. I think it's really encouraging, but also I think that we need to work hard on getting the next generation of students involved. I know that in King's, it's quite difficult now. We've had the same people for the last couple of years in the committee. It's hard to reach out to the new students and get them in. It's almost a bit cliquey, but I think things like MSc were teaching us how to advertise, teaching us how to reach out, especially to non-Muslims. If we can reach out to non-Muslims, then I'm sure we can cover the Muslims as well. I think that is really encouraging. I think probably in the next 5 years it's going to be bigger and better, just like it has been the last 5 years.
Based on her experience, Sister Shireen gave me much to think about with regards to Ahlulbayt societies and how much we are actively doing. I'd like to talk to someone else to get their perspective on the same matter. I'm now joined by Pedram, who's the head of the Muslim Student Council. So if I can start by asking you what exactly your role is.
So I'll just begin by painting a picture of the structure before I can explain what my role is. So there's now 33 Ahlulbayt Islamic societies across the UK. They started off, as 5. They evolved to about 10. It grew to 19 last year. Now there's 33, which is a large number. And these 33 ABSOCs, they do a lot of activities and a lot of stuff. And so it's been some time now where there's been a central committee that have been organising many activities and operations that are common or unique, or they're shared across different of these member societies. And so from 2 years ago, the plan was that in order for this movement to continue to succeed in the long term, we need to establish mechanisms for self-sufficiency and sustainability. And that's primarily the elections which are taking place today. The elections are a means to get fresh blood, into the ranks and take up new roles as older people can retract from the student scene as they graduate and move on. And so this year, I was the chair of the first elected committee of the MSc, and previously before that, I've been involved in a formal capacity.
So if I can just interrupt and ask, where do you see let me think. What is your vision for MSc and Ahlulbayt societies? So in an ideal world, in let's say 2 to 5 years, where do you want to see these societies in a more broad university environment?
I see. So the vision for the Ahlulbayt societies is kind of 2 things. One is that this infrastructure and platform has kind of matured to an extent now. There's elections, there's people running positions. It started out when 3 people in a room. Now positions are being contested. So things have grown to a position where it's now self-sufficient and it can kind of move forward without any external input. So the older people can attract and dedicate themselves to building new fronts. So in terms of current students, I think there's a lot of good work being done by previous generations. And the time has come to not limit ourselves to current students and work on different fronts. So there is activity taking place, both giving our graduates the respect they deserve and extending the platform to cater for them. There's international operations going to be beginning next year, and obviously there's a few other plans as well. So these are some of the plans for growth and expansion.
And is the focus of MSc, is it more inward, looking at catering for Muslim students, or is there also an outward element where you look to non-Muslims and doing da'wah or preaching about what the Prophet taught and his progeny?
So I think this is a good question which raises some issues on strategy, and there's a few points here. One is that the 3 main aims of the MSc were development. So there's individuals, they need to become capable, and as a whole we need to become capable and organised. Once we're capable and organised, then we can integrate into society, and then we can begin engaging. And this is reflected partly in the way that the Prophet went about his mission and spending 40 years gaining people's trust before even mentioning about Islam. So if there's been a lot of development work being going on and not much engagement, that's because I think we often forget the importance of the development aspect beforehand. So up to now, the MSc generally is a very outward-looking and wishes to engage with the wider society and prepare individuals for careers in later life, where they'll be in British society and not necessarily in an Islamic environment. So this is part of the aims of the MSc. But as I said, basically, so we don't believe necessarily in pushing any particular agenda. We believe that if we create a platform, our focus has been on establishing the elections, the constitution. We believe if the platform is there, then Islam is, the philosophy of Islam is a light. Turn on the lights and it'll fill the room. We don't have to force it anywhere. We believe they will take place. And if there's any obstacles in the way, we'll try to remove them and create the platform that can nurture this kind of direction towards the truth.
PEDRAM made me understand the philosophy behind Muslims having their own platform at university, and to be honest, made me better appreciate Muslim space at university.
The Muslim Student Council and the different organizations that operates under its banner, different Ahlulbayt societies, Ahlulbayt Islamic societies, I think is a great step forward. I think the Muslim community of students need to get organized, need to have their platforms that represent them, that help them to share their ideas, their visions, and facilitate their own development. This, however, should not stop the same students who are members of the different Islamic societies, should not stop them from reaching out and being members of different societies at universities, religious and non-religious ones. In fact, I strongly encourage the students, the Muslim students at university, to use their network with fellow students, non-Muslims, to help develop Britain and develop the world. Muslims should be part of all these organizations and societies who serve a noble cause. These charitable organizations, these organizations that try and find solutions to many questions and obstacles that the world is facing inside Britain and outside. Muslims should be inspired by their religion to take a leading role in participating with their fellow citizens. By being members of Islamic societies, like Ahlulbayt societies, there is obviously a risk that the students, the members, will use this as a protection bubble. They will just hide within the Ahlulbayt Islamic society and feel comfortable within their comfort zone and not come out of it. Our recommendation, we strongly recommend them to come out of it, to use the networking facilities that they have with their fellow Muslim students to develop personally and then move outwards, reach out to mainstream British society, reach out to all different societies and organizations that serve a noble cause, be part of it, and try and make the most of impact with fellow citizens around. So it's encourageable to have your own organization, faith-based organization. It nourishes you, nurtures you, it supports you, but you should know how to use this to the outside world. The issue of identity is very important. A couple of years ago, the followers of Ahlulbayt, Muslims felt a bit lost. They couldn't find a society that really represents them, gives them the platform to share their ideas, to make the use of their potential. So alhamdulillah, forming the Ahlulbayt Islamic Society was a great success. It gave people a real identity that represents them. It gave them the networking they need. It facilitated the development of hundreds and thousands of students over the years. I'm personally very proud of Ahlulbayt Society, and I'm very proud of the organization, the Muslim Student Council, for its efforts, endless efforts to facilitate the networking and to maximize the potential of these societies across Britain. Giving this identity is important, and alhamdulillah, the Muslim Student Council and the active people in Ahlulbayt societies have managed to use it well. Back in the days, all our programs were about history. All we discussed was the past of the Middle East. We talked about the events of the 7th century, but we never actually talked about the present or the future. Nowadays, the quality of the programs organized by Ahlulbayt societies is amazing. They are using Islam and inspirations of Islam to talk about common problems, about today's problems, about problems that Britain faces as a society or the world is facing. So I think alhamdulillah they've come a long way and they continue to improve, and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala they continue to do so.
So over the course of the day, I found out that there is possibly a role for Ahlulbayt society and Muslim societies at university, but I still find myself getting invites on the internet, on Facebook, by email for the same event every week, for Dua Nudba on a Friday morning, for Dua Tawassul, for discussion circles about very cliche topics. Do you not feel that we need to rock the boat a little and actually go out there and not just produce the same thing that's been going on since Ahlulbayt society was created all those years ago?
Okay, well, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think the system that will, especially at SOAS that we have, is not as rigid as you're making it out to be. This year, we've decided to mobilize not only the people at SOAS, however, we've invited back alumni from before who've left SOAS, and also people from outside university to come in and help us out. So we have a pretty large team. With that large team, we've decided to take an organizational structure. So in that organizational structure, we have divisions. Each division has a head of division, and these divisions consist of what we believe is what is needed to address society. So there are 8 divisions, essentially: politics and media, economics and business, charity, education, Islamic studies, Quranic studies, Islamic unity, and social, sports and arts. From those angles, each one has a team, and each one will address the issues that you seem to think are not being addressed. So when you say there is only Dua on a Friday morning, yes, there is Dua on a Friday morning. However, we also have a football league. We're also doing TEDx. We're also, from an education perspective, we're also starting an academic club from education. We also have a Feed the Homeless. We're doing the blood donation from the charity perspective. And I can go on. So in terms of being innovative and leading society in terms of what is needed, this is the aspect that we're coming from.
That's fine, but if that's, I mean, SOAS seem to have a fantastic committee who have taken on a new structure and changed the game almost. Now, how does that translate and how does that transfer? We're at a conference where there's 33 different Ahlulbayt societies being represented.
Yep.
So how is someone in Bradford going to benefit from your events in SOAS, which cater for politics and whatever else?
Okay, great. So it's not necessarily to say that everyone has to take a political angle. However, there are certain things in society that everyone has some sort of involvement and interest in. As an example, everyone should be somewhat politically active because the politics does affect every single person. So when you don't like a decision that happens to you as a student, it was your fault that you never voted it in, and that's your fault that you never had a political interest. However, to get to your point though, in universities such as King's, we are not saying that this is a rigid model, but we are saying that at King's, Queen Mary's, where for example they have a medical institutions where they can come in from different angles. So we're trying to provide answers and solutions to everything that is available. So is there enough medical research going out there? Of course there is. However, can it be enhanced? Yes, it can be. Has Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq written loads of books on medical research? Yes, he has. Have they all been translated? No, they haven't. So as a medical student, why can't I take some of these books, make a medical division, and start translating them?
And with regards to the types of events that you have, it's all well and good talking about medicine and whatever else.
Yep.
I've been to an event that addresses the sermon of Sayyidah Zainab.
Yep.
After the event of Karbala, and I found the event was very much like a lecture that I would hear in a mosque.
Yeah.
It almost feels like sometimes at Ahlulbayt societies we're just there to emulate that environment and that atmosphere in a university setting. Is there any move to even address that or change that?
Sorry, can I clarify? Are you saying that we stay within ourselves?
I'm saying that in a university environment, it's a room full of academics. Mm-hmm. You would expect that the style of talk would be slightly different. Okay. So for example, tackling Islam tackling the speech of Sayyidah Zainab from a literary perspective, breaking it down, looking at the poetry, looking at whatever elements of it. But it was more like this was the sermon and this is the impact it had, and it caused a revolution. We hear that all the time in the mosque every Muharram, but what more can we do?
Okay, so as an example, just from what you're saying, my understanding is that we're not going deep enough into the works that we have. So one aspect that we're trying to do, for example, in economics and business, is that we are going to set up somewhat of an academic club where we're going to go through Muhammad Baqir Sadr's Iqtisad and our economics. So what we're going to do is we're going to have people going through his book and going through where he kind of researched it from and begin to discuss those issues and how there are current vital economic solutions that can be viable. So the breakdown of Marxism, the breakdown of capitalism, is there an Islamic economic solution? These works that have come from before that are necessarily always spoken about. Yes, we have the solution, yes, but what is it? How can we go deeper into it? So this is the kind of angle that we're coming from.
And just briefly, where would you see the future of Ahlulbayt society?
Well, personally, I'd like to see everyone being involved. So it's not necessarily just for Shias, not necessarily just for Muslims either. So coming from a perspective where we are able to integrate everyone together. So, as just a very vague example in terms of the education, where we're trying to have a team which focus on TEDx. TEDx is a global platform. If every single ABSOC took TEDx and got the license, not necessarily as an ABSOC, but to have people from the ABSOC working on such a project means that we have our own global platform where we can bring in our own speakers and we can bring in our own people and our own ideas. And it's not necessary to preach, no, but there are works that haven't been recognized from an academic perspective. And what we like to do and what they do and we like to do together is it's inspired to be inspired. And that's what we want to achieve.
And I hear you're also growing a beard for Movember or whatever. Do you wanna talk us through that?
Yeah. So I mean, I'll be shaving soon in order to have a moustache going for November. It's called Movember because you grow a moustache and only a moustache. Why? Because I mean, it's not very ordinary to walk around with a moustache these days. It might be okay to walk around with a beard, but a moustache alone isn't. So from this perspective, I'm trying to raise awareness for prostate and testicular cancer because. In society in general, there seems to not be enough awareness and attention to some of the diseases that are going around, and often it's just medical students who know about the effects of these kind of diseases. However, not everyone knows what goes on in prostate and testicular cancer. So I'm trying to raise awareness, and this is part of the charity projects that are going on with our charity division.
I learned today that Muslims do have their own space at university, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Within the context of Muslim society, they're able to preserve their Muslim identity and still partake and be in a university environment which is a world of clashing identities.